This is the Weekly Scramble, a place where we chat about life over a cold one or two. It's time to belly up to the pod with Mike Fratelloni and your host, Chris Reavers.
It's time for the Weekly Scramble. My name is Chris Reavers. By my side, his name is Mike Fratelloni with Fratelloni's Hardware and Garden Stores. What the hell did you just say?
First of all, hello, Reavers. How you doing?
Good, buddy. How are you?
I want to do a promotion. If anyone asks out there runs Rosedale, right? Every time
Which
I go
you're a huge fan of.
I'm a huge fan. I have
Rosedale
like
Mall.
really good feelings, memories of Rosedale. Just going there as a kid, walking around in all the shops and the fun places. And if they want to hire me next year to live at Rosedale from December 1st to Christmas Day, I'll do that for the right price.
Would you seriously?
Yeah. And I will podcast from there, or I'll do videos. I'll do whatever.
Oh, my
And I
God.
get to sleep maybe in the bedding section at Macy's. Won't that be cool?
No, that sounds awful.
I don't know. I just love them all. I think my wife might be going to a therapist because I continually ask her if she wants to go to Rosedale or the Mall of America. And she looks at me like, I'm going to murder you. Like legitimately might want to murder me.
And I don't like them in general, but especially this time of the
Oh,
year.
I love it. The people are out. It's the holiday cheer.
Yeah.
Don't you like holiday cheer?
I do, and it's fun now going through this with young kids.
Yeah.
It's fun, but I still don't want to be around other people.
Oh,
That's the part I want to avoid at all costs.
It will get worse when your kid let me pull this up, at 12:52 at night, right? So 12:52 in the morning, sends me a pair of Kyries that she wants. She's 13 years old.
What is that?
They're a pair of shoes that are like $240. She's like, oh, can I get these Kyries? And I'm like, for Christmas, on our Christmas
As in
list.
Kyrie Jenner?
No, Kyrie Irving.
Oh, yeah, it's Kylie Jenner. What's her
Kylie
name?
Jenner, Kyrie Irving. Right?
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. Okay.
And I may be wrong about the name of the shoe, but I'm like, at 12:45, what are you doing? What are you doing up? You should be sleeping. Second of all, why do you think? And then another one said to me, this is so great, Reavers. My kids are so sweet and delusional. One of them, the older one, said, hey, I know this is a long shot gift.
Right.
I know this is a long shot.
I know my chances aren't good.
I'm prepping this, but I'd like a pair of Christian Dior slides, like flip-flops. And I said, oh, those sound nice. How much are they? And she goes, this is where I'm reaching. And I said, well, what? And she goes, they're $800. And I looked at her and I said,
Are you out of your mind?
What color is the sky in your world that you think I'm going to buy you a pair of flip-flops for $800?
Well, I want to take that a step further. In addition to
Further. Yeah.
Why would anyone spend that kind of money on a pair of flip-flops?
I don't know. People are dumb with money. And I, too, have been known to be dumb with money, right? I've done things. I own a Humvee. I'm a dumb person, right? I get it. I've done some dumb stuff. But a kid wearing $800 flip-flops just is never going to happen. And the weirdest part about this is my daughter has the one that wants the Dior flip-flops. And if anyone from Dior's out there and want to just get her a pair of flip-flops.
Or endorse the show. Yeah.
Let's do it, right? I mean, let's do it. Because then I'd love for her to wear them. But if she wears like these tennis shoes that are so filthy to school.
I'm blown away. Wow.
But she wears like tennis shoes that are like 3 years old. And I'm like, let's get you some new tennis shoes. She's like, don't even worry about it. I'm like, huh. So she's super low maintenance on that end and wears sweatpants almost all day. But yet she'd look really cool. And you remember that show with the models? Ben Stiller was a model.
Oh, it was Zoolander.
Zoolander.
Yeah.
And the developer had that style called derelict, where everybody looked like they were homeless. So my kids are the derelict. They wear that. They all look homeless, but then want $800 slides. Yeah, they only wear sweatpants and sweatshirts because they're homeless-looking kids.
I got to tell you, it's I'm still at the stage where a new Lego set is pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
I'm still at the stage where, and I really am trying hard because if I were to let my beloved go wild, she would.
She would.
But and it's not that I don't want her to get stuff for the kids. I want her to enjoy this time of the year at this age. And I know is it fleeting? I know that you only get that small window with your kids, and I get that. But I also don't want them to think, oh, well, on Christmas I just get $6 million worth of stuff too, because you still want to have them have a little bit of perspective. Times.
You would like it. Sometimes as a parent, I know I've lost that. Like my kids had no perspective. Like they have no concept. No concept at all. Yeah.
Well, speaking of gifts, I need you Right here.
Okay.
All right, that was handed to me yesterday.
Okay.
And there's a reason I'm giving it to you right now as we're on the air.
Oh, got it. Okay. Should I open it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
So it's from our new best friend, Dave Pounds, and his lovely wife.
I love him.
The owners of the Slush Buster, because I've got to do a Slush Buster ad on the show anyway. So I thought I'm going to have Mike open his Christmas card from the Pounds live on the Weekly Scramble, because I got mine from them, I believe, a week ago. And they're wonderful, wonderful people. And I've mentioned this before, but it's one of the reasons why I love the things that we do here, because it connects clients with people, and I absolutely love it. And they're just phenomenal people.
What a sweet, sweet note.
Yes.
So there's a beautiful card. So unlike Mike Fratelloni, Dave and Nina Pounds write out legible.
Correct.
More than one paragraph. Sincere.
Yes.
Spelled accurately.
Yes.
The grammar, indented paragraphs. Everything about it is just beautiful. I would just say happy holidays, but I'd probably throw an E in holidays somewhere. So that was very, very sweet of them.
Yeah, it's very cool, and I knew you'd enjoy that.
Yeah,
so.
I think the Pounds are killing it. They're pounding it.
Yes.
I don't know, with the Slush
Pun
Buster.
intended.
Yeah, pun
Why
intended.
not?
It is just, it's one of those things that blows my mind. My stores are calling me mad at me because so many people are coming in and asking for this. I'm like, what am I supposed to do?
You want me to
We're
stop?
getting them to you as fast as we can.
Such, are you hearing this? We are moving product, baby.
The Slush Buster's killing it.
All right.
All right.
Joe's very enthused. Can you
Yeah,
tell?
yeah.
Bought the Christmas events in Spoon Lake.
Okay.
All right.
Very good. It was invented by Dave and his lovely wife, right here in Burnsville, Minnesota. Dave got tired of the corrosive slush that was rusting his cars and damaging his garage floor, and the old broomstick and boot that was used before, that wasn't cutting it anymore. So, voila, here comes the Slush Buster. And it's going to help take good care of your vehicles and your garage. It's also going to help prevent slips and falls. The Slush Buster is available. Yes, you can order it on Amazon, but do what everybody else does and go to one of your 21 Fratelloni's hardware locations. Also at Wellna Ace Hardware in Robbinsdale, Minnesota. You can also order yours and learn more at slushbuster.us. That's slushbuster.us. You know what? Christmas is right around the corner.
Yeah, it's a great Christmas
It's a great Christmas gift.
I have to totally change all my feelings about Dave and Nina, though, because now they are total liars.
Why?
Because they wrote, when Dave dropped off the Slush Buster at your warehouse, one of your staff members spoke very highly of you. There's not a chance that happened. No one at the warehouse spoke highly of Mike Fratelloni. They might have said,
That jerk.
that a-hole? Yeah. But what a sweet couple.
And can I tell you what I did?
Yeah.
So last night we got it wasn't even bad levels of snow. It was just enough to be a royal pain in the rear end. Because I left here shortly before 6, and I didn't get home until about 7:15.
Oof.
That's how rough.
a long
And
run.
my stretch normally is about a 40-minute drive.
Okay.
Well, one wrench in the system screws
Sure.
everything. In fact, there was a couple of really bad accidents that I was going to look up to see how bad they were. Anyway, but what did I do? Pull into the garage, turn the heat on,
Yep.
come inside, yell at the family. No, I'm kidding. Come inside, get stuff ready for dinner, whatnot. Gave the heater a little chance.
Yeah.
Came back, Slush Buster in hand, wheeled out her vehicle, wheeled out mine, and then let it melt.
Yeah.
Oh, it's fun.
That's just nice.
It's fun.
Yeah, good for you. So
I'm
I
such a
had
nerd.
a time where I had to send my team at my Fratelloni's family team, right? The kids that I have.
Yes.
I said, hey, if you happen to notice that both of our garage doors are wide open and you're outside, close them because we have a heater in our garage. So the heater just goes as hard as it possibly can because now the garage temperature is 11 degrees instead of the 48 or whatever I keep it at.
Okay.
And my daughter looked at me, she goes, for a fraction of a minute, I thought, I wonder if he'd want these closed. Right? And then I said, why didn't you say anything?
Right.
Why didn't you just use that logic, those little neurons that you have in your head that says, I bet you he doesn't want to just have this heater. But nope. 3 family members.
Yep.
3 of them saw that they were open. And the worst part is I was the one, we have 2 different garage door buttons inside, right?
Okay.
And I pressed the wrong one. So I came in,
no.
one was open, and then I opened the other one. So it was my fault. I did it. I was the moron. But I looked at my kid's beautiful. And I said, please. Did you not just have a moment of saying, I bet you they just don't want both garage doors open. Dad's laying down on the couch. he probably isn't doing a project. Let's just, I don't even need to say anything. I'm just going to close them. I'm
going to be a good kid.
Yep. Never.
No.
Never happens.
Well, you know what? Tis the season.
Yeah, 'tis the season.
You know how you reward that kind of behavior? With $800 flip-flops.
With $800. That's what I should have said. I should have said, if you would have only closed the garage door, we could have afforded those $800.
So a couple of stories were sent our way. One by a good friend of mine, Mike. No pun, same name as you, but Mike's great. Mike and I used to work in the industry together, the service industry together. Yeah. And I've had Mike on the show when we used to do the beer show. Because Mike's the kind of bartender that quite literally could make you any drink you would want, and it would be spectacular. Okay. Mike and I worked well behind the bar together because I'm speed reader, right? I'll make you 10 drinks in 15 seconds, and Mike's going to say, no, I'm going to make you the best old-fashioned you ever had. It's going to take you a minute.
He takes that orange and peels it with the little thing.
And that's what makes him great, because he's so good at that. I am not like that. I'm completely different. I'm a rip and pour guy.
Sure.
So anyway, he sent me the story. He said, you and Fratelloni should talk about this. Remember that time. So this story, I believe, comes to us from somewhere on the West Coast. And I don't think it really matters because it's one of those what we call an evergreen story. And here it is. Bartender accidentally informs a woman that her husband is cheating on her.
Oh, no.
And the reason he sent this story is this happened to the two of us when we were working together.
Okay, all right.
And I believe it was New Year's Eve. So the place that we were working at was one of those places where when it first opened, was kind of a big, high buck, big client type of deal where, you were coming here to spend $15 on a rail drink.
Yeah.
Which some people like to do that. Yeah. I am not one of them.
No, but if you're out for a couple hours.
Absolutely. Yep. And so what happened was we got to, you get to know some of your regulars. And we would see a gentleman there with different people.
Got it.
And okay, great. Hey,
he's single. It doesn't matter. Yeah.
I don't even remember what his name was, so it doesn't really matter.
Don
hey,
Juan.
Jim, whatever your name is. Okay. And then all of a sudden, there was I can't remember if it was a wedding or a private party, and here came that same guy. Hey, how are you? He introduces his wife, and I said, "Oh, okay,
wow, oops."
And you just play along, right?
Yep.
Well, this bartender did not do that.
Oh no.
And I'm thinking, okay, time out here, bartender gal. And it was a female bartender, which I guess I get, because maybe she was scorned in the past,
sure.
Whatever.
But that's
the
not
case
her
might be.
job to ruin someone else.
That's not her job.
No, that's not her job. Yeah.
It's just not your job, period.
Yeah, you never know the story, too.
You don't know the story. Yeah. You don't know the circumstance. You have no idea if the guy was entertaining his sister or his cousin.
They could have an open relationship.
Whatever. Exactly. Yeah. But you also don't do that job because guess what you just did?
No.
That guy's never coming back to your establishment.
Well, he can't now. He's got to go to divorce court.
Well, not even beside that. You just screwed yourself big time. And I guess there was this kind of a related section to this about people, of course, people commenting, but I'm thinking, no, that none of that should matter. That's not your job.
Yeah.
Is that your brother? Is that your sister?
No.
Then no, it's none of your business.
None of your business.
Right?
Keep your mouth shut, pour your drinks, smile, right?
Yeah.
Do that little thing where you put the beer opener in your back pocket because that looks real cool, right? When girls do that, and they whip it out and they got that big beer opener.
Although I hated doing that.
Really?
Because that took too long when you're doing a bunch of them. It's just, you keep it in the little wristband sleeve right here.
See, you were one of those guys.
Because I could just do this. I know this is visual, but
do it.
I could just do the flick and it would come right.
Do it one more time.
And it would come right to fingertip length.
All right, that's very cool.
Literally took a fraction of a second as opposed to, I better reach back here.
So here's a couple things you should never do. You should never bust somebody for being with a different girl at a bar.
Ever.
You should never suggest to a woman, when are you due?
Oh, God,
never say that.
No.
You never say that. So those are two. We should make a list of things to never do because those are two really good ones. I don't care if the person has one of those distended bellies with the belly button that's now pointing out and they're wearing a two-piece bathing suit so you know they're pregnant. You never say, when are you due?
Ever. The only time, though, in a situation like that is if it's in present company. Whereas, and I was very overprotective. Whereas, if some girl is really getting taken advantage of by some rando,
Oh, yeah.
that's when you got to say, hey, bro, we're done here. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like you just have to be that because in most cases, everyone's intoxicated, so judgment gets impaired a little bit. But
Never.
but you know what I'm saying? That there are certain cases where you could tell, he's being really aggressive with grabbing the wrists and things like that, where you've got to say, hey, is everything okay? Like, that's completely different than what I was talking about.
Yeah,
earlier.
that one's avoiding a situation.
Correct.
Right? This one's just breaking someone's marriage down to the dust.
Yeah.
But you never know. You never know. I used to judge. Let me restate that. I judge everybody, but I know I shouldn't ever do it. Right?
Judge. Let me rephrase
I mean,
that,
you just know that the older I get, it's not that I don't judge anymore.
Right.
I just don't care. I don't care
You lose interest.
if Steve is cheating on Sarah. I don't care.
Right.
It's none of my business.
None of
You
your
never
business.
know. Sarah could be poisoning him in his coffee every day. We have no idea.
And
it's
he's
none
still
of my
alive
business.
somehow.
Yeah, well, it's slow. It's like iocane powder. He's building up an immunity. I don't know.
like we should do to Putin.
Yeah.
Wait, did I say
There.
that? Yeah. Anyway, so that dovetailed into a news story I found late last week, and I thought I want to bring this up with Mike. And it's Christmas party time, office Christmas party time. Because do you guys still do one?
This was the very first year we did not do it. So we did individual store Christmas parties. That's what we're doing. We didn't do our big. We used to rent out all of Mancini's.
That's what I thought.
And do
which was
real
really
big,
cool.
But then COVID kind of broke that down.
Oh, sure.
You just don't want to get your entire team in one spot, because if one guy's sick, your entire team gets sick. And at retail, that slows the ability to be open down.
Wait a minute. So instead of doing one, you have to do 21 different ones?
Yeah, I can't make them all. The store managers are running.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I was going to say that's obviously 21 times the work.
Yeah, I can't do it. Right? I just can't do it. But they've had some great parties already. They've sent some pics, and it looks like a lot of fun.
Okay, cool. So, and this company has a great holiday party. Unfortunately, I was out of town this last weekend, so I wasn't able to attend.
This Hubbard party.
The Hubbard party has a great one. It's really cool.
Yeah, I've been to it once. It was fantastic.
Yeah, you have. So anyway, I found a story because it was talking about horrific holiday party stories where, this gal hooks up with that guy, or this guy got too drunk and started talking about the boss. And I'm thinking,
no.
And I'm always thinking, don't people get it where that's really not the place to get your 0.4 on?
Every year it happened. Every year it would happen to me at our Christmas parties.
You're kidding.
No, so we like I said, when I say we rented out, we booked up all of Mancini's. In fact, one year they closed it completely just for our company. So we would
Which is so cool.
It was really cool. So we would have 400 or 500 people usually there, and we're all eating at one time, and it was open bar, so it was just people were just drinking, right? There was no tickets.
I'm surprised you never invited me with an open bar.
And people would get, at some point in time, somebody would get a little touchy. Right? And be like, oh, that's uncomfortable, right?
Yep.
Or they'd want to talk about something really important. I'm like, oh no, we're not going to do this. My favorite of all times, we had kind of a disgruntled office worker that worked for us, right?
Sure.
And she had worked for us for years and years and years.
Okay.
And I can't remember, like, we were moving and she just didn't like the new spot she was sitting. It was she left us. We didn't kick her out. She left us. But our Christmas party was the last Sunday before Christmas every year, right? Yeah. So she came with a group of other ex-employees and sat, this is before we rented out the whole place, right? And sat at a table right next to the entrance. So a lot of our team knew her. So they were saying, hey, and I see you, and I see you, and I see you. And I told the gentleman that run Mancini's that, hey, this is what happened. And all of a sudden, a few minutes later, they're gone.
Oh, no.
It was like they thought, oh, we're not going to let that happen. Get up. Let's go.
Oh, wow.
And, because Pat and John know how to run a restaurant better than anybody, right? They're just the best of the best. And they're surely not going to have somebody that invited 500 people over for dinner have their night destroyed by two disgruntled employees sitting at a table. It's like, oh, and they just were like, and they just escorted them to a different part of the restaurant and said, you're going to sit here. Congratulations, The
best stories that I can repeat on this show are, one took place when I worked at this company, and one took place when I worked for a different company that was a large retailer that worked in a series of health clubs.
Are you going to tell the one about when you emceed and you were a little drunk at that?
I have shared that one where I was asked to stop speaking into a microphone. Yeah, that one happened.
That's what you do for a living.
That was pre-children. I want to say this was 2008, 2009.
I was there at that one, I think. Yeah.
Oh, you were at that one?
Yeah, that was the one I remember. Yeah.
Where, God bless her, she no longer works for the company, but Chris Carlson. And so I was supposed to do announcements of, because they always do really cool raffle prizes.
Yeah, big things.
And at
awesome
the end of the
things,
night, they said, hey, would you, so wonderful Des from KS95 and I were supposed to do, hey, and the winner of the kayak is such and such. And so about halfway through, the wonderful Chris Carlson said, honey, I think you need to get down from there. Yeah. And I said, I think that's a really good idea.
Yeah. I mean, because it was like 500 people. I mean, it's a huge party.
Right. It was very harmless, but it was probably, every time I see her, I still thank her for getting
beautiful parties.
Yeah, it was fun.
But you missed that. Sorry to hear that.
I did get a text from a couple of people who no longer work here that said, hey, can I be your date for the Hummer party? Because they know that usually I have to go alone because it's tough to find a sitter, this time of the year. So usually my wife, if my wife can come, she's come with me.
Didn't you in years past rent a room right at that hotel and stay there?
Which is great.
Yeah.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Like, we're done. Let's go upstairs and go to bed.
But I was working for a large chain of health clubs before I worked here at Hubbard. Yeah. And
it was your life. You were so fit.
And it was a time where you could enjoy life.
Yeah, there you go. Okay. Just in case people weren't able to figure that out.
Anywho, and I worked out in the Chanhassen area, which is where I lived. And they had rented out I'm sure you've been to a wedding at this place. It's a gorgeous place right there in Chanhassen, right by the Arboretum.
Okay.
And they had rented it out this is a huge company that's got a lot of employees, and it was basically for just the full-time people.
Okay.
Which, because you're talking about one of your facilities has 500 people.
Yeah, I mean, it would be 8,000 people or something.
So exactly. So anyway, so it was just for full-time people, and they were going through a merger with a different chain of. So there was a little bit of disgruntledness that was going on at that time.
Okay.
And so some people just showed up uninvited.
Ooh.
And so everyone had dinner, and it was fine. It was great. It was beautiful. It was great. And so it was one of those two where let's just have dinner, let's hang out, let's maybe have a cocktail, and let's get the hell out of here.
Let's
right?
get out of here. Yeah.
Because from that place, it was maybe a 5-minute drive to my house, if that. Right. So I said to my. In fact, I don't even think I was married at the time. It was Jess and I might have even been engaged, and I just said, hey. Let's get in, let's have dinner, and let's get the hell out of here. Let's get home to watch the news at 10 o'clock, right? Yeah. And then let's go drink at home. So anyway, dinner was over, and they had hired a DJ for a dance, which is cool, like almost like a wedding setup.
Yeah. Everybody's fit, I bet you, in that business,
and
right?
It was, yeah, exactly. Yeah. And everybody looks great in their attire. And so then it was almost like the scene out of Caddyshack, where all the help got to use the pool.
Okay.
And all of a sudden I went, oh no. Oh, and then I said, okay, we can't leave yet.
Like, we gotta watch a little of this.
To the point where the music had to be shut off because it was getting not out of hand, but there was too many people.
Yeah. There was going to be like a couple of pregnancies, 8 DWIs. I mean, there was going to be a lot that happened.
And there was a group of 5 females at the top of their lungs singing the Whitney Houston song, I Want to Dance with Somebody.
Oh, no.
And so that's why every time I hear that song, that's all I think of is that night on that dance floor.
Oh, really?
And
okay, that's fun.
And so I remember.
Sounds kind of fun, actually.
And this was about a week-ish before Christmas. So yeah, around whatever, about a week-ish or so before Christmas. And I thought, all these people are going to get gassed. Like, there's no chance. It was very funny.
So you're that old owner who's still the president now of the company.
Yeah, sure.
What is he an intense dude? I don't know him at all. I've never met him, but he's built a very, very, very successful, very big company.
Right? I've always enjoyed his company.
Yeah, I mean, he seems like a go-getter, right?
Yeah.
And, but I mean, the things that he's doing. We can say the company, can't we?
I don't think we probably should.
Yeah, I just didn't know. But okay, well, anyways, there's a guy who runs a company out there that I'm impressed with.
Yes,
he should advertise on the station.
Very nice guy too.
Doesn't he advertise with us? He should.
I know that they used to run ads on KS95.
Yeah, which would be perfect for them, right? Yeah.
But I can't recall if they still do or not.
Okay, well, anyway. that makes me feel a little bit better about him.
But I mean, it's always funny getting the stories of, from your friends where you're not going to believe this. Like, she took her top off. But I'm just always thinking, don't you still know you're kind of still at work?
Yeah, you still have that. Don't you? Can't you look over and just focus on your boss and say, "Ooh,
oh, that's right.
This is not what I should be doing."
No,
right?
But when I'm with Joe at the company, then
he's out of control because
you're
like, you're going to be less embarrassing than Joe for sure.
Or what you do is you walk up to Such and you go, "Hey, I need another drink ticket."
Oh, there you go. Smart.
Because he'll give it to you.
You were in that business of New Year's resolutions because obviously January in the club business
oh my God.
was nuts, right?
Well, what's funny about that is you would see it trickle in, didn't matter, the Monday after Thanksgiving.
Okay.
That's always when it would start. The boom, the holiday boom, we would call it.
Yeah.
Monday after Thanksgiving, you could not find an elliptical machine, a bike, a treadmill.
Really?
If you were there during peak times, which is usually 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. or God help you, 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. Good luck to you.
It was impossible.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
No, I think that's funny. Are you a resolutions maker?
Big time.
Really?
I am.
Do you have one this next year?
Well, kind of. I'm more of a, what do I want to get done this year? And it can be something that I want to do personally, whatever. What do I want to accomplish this year?
Is one of them local Marconi for Joe? Can you get a podcast Marconi?
You know what, though?
Yeah.
And I will take this to my grave. So a couple of years ago when Garage Logic, so Joe, the first year we were nominated as a podcast was Joe, what year did you have to go to Dallas for the Marconi? 2020? Okay. So Garage Logic was nominated for a Marconi in 2020. I'm shocked he's still here. That's pretty cool. Mm-hmm. He's signing all those town council. Yeah. You should have heard the kind word he shouted when he saw Ross slap that big tab of town council certificates on his desk. In any event, so 2020, because the event itself, the NABs is kind of it rotates throughout the country. Okay. So 2020, it was in Dallas, and Garage Logic was nominated for the first time as a podcast. Mm-hmm. Joe has been nominated a number of times as a radio host. And so the boss says, "Hey, you should come down." So he and the CP flew down. Unfortunately, we didn't win. And Joe called me and said, "I'm never coming to another bleeping one of these things again." I said, "Oh, okay, I get it. That's fine." So I believe this would have been 2 years later. So 2022. This would have been last fall. So that's 2021.
21, yeah.
So I think he might have been down there in 19
because it was pre-COVID.
Correct.
When he went, yeah.
And so 2021, it's in Las Vegas.
Okay.
And he says, "I'm not going."
Not going.
And the boss says, "Well, someone needs to go." And Joe says, "Then send Reavers because I'm not going."
Mm-hmm.
And I went, "Oh boy,
I'll go to
weekend
Vegas.
in Vegas." Okay.
Yeah.
And so then I said, "Honey, we're being asked to go." I said, I would love it if you could come with. And she said, "I have no interest in sitting through a radio awards show and taking time off of work." And I said,
"It's Vegas, baby."
Shoot. I said, "So do you mean I got to go by myself to Las Vegas?" And she said, "Uh-huh." So I went. Unfortunately, what happened was that was it's usually like late October-ish. So then the COVID spike came up again. Awards went to total digital. I'm convinced, had I gone and been there in attendance, it's the first time Garage Logic would have won a Marconi.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, I'm going to go back to 2019 because I think it was 2019. You guys had this podcast that started that went from 0 listeners, because it was a podcast, to literally over 1 million listeners. I mean, some crazy performance that skyrocketed Garage Logic to not only the top podcast in Minnesota, but one of the top podcasts in the United States within a very short window, like an extremely short window. Yeah. Yet, someone who produced like 3 hours of a podcast about a tree or something. I can't remember what the subject matter was.
Oh, it was actually pretty serious.
Was it a good podcast?
Sure.
Okay. But I'm sure it was fantastic.
Right.
But it wasn't the weight of what Joe and you make. It wasn't
a daily podcast.
It wasn't a daily podcast. No. It didn't have the same gravitas that you guys have because every day you're doing something that's excellent. Right? Mm-hmm. And you're doing it on the brain of one man. and then a half a brain of a bunch of other guys.
A bunch of idiots.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's not easy to do.
No, it's
on
not.
a daily show.
Right.
Right? I mean, could I go create 1 hour of greatness? Probably not.
I think you could.
But if I did, should my 1 hour ever beat Joe's?
Wait, you've done the show by yourself. Didn't you do it?
It's the worst ever. I hated doing that.
Because if I recall, my wife and I were traveling back with our kids from, was it San Diego?
Could be.
And then we were snowed in, or we literally could not get back.
Yeah.
Because the airports were it's almost like they're already canceling flights for Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Ugh. Because of the rush for this time of the year, but also saying we don't think that people are going to be able to get here or whatever.
Yeah.
But I remember calling and going, hey, I don't think I'm going to be back, so you're going to have to do the show without me.
And that was live radio.
Live radio.
Live radio with a different producer, because you always ran the board too.
That's right.
Right? So
Yes.
you always controlled everything. So I had a producer that I didn't know, and he was giving me these hand signals like breaking a stick, which I guess was break, but I didn't really get it. And then some 3 fingers up, which means 30 seconds, which I did not know. No one told me this. And then I went into the little room and I said, hey, I'm sorry, I don't know any of these signals. He's like, you've been doing this radio show forever. And I said, yeah, it was probably 8 years at that time, or 7 years. And then I said, we have been. Chris has always done that because he's been here every time. I don't know what any of these things mean. So if you want me to go to a break, you need to push your microphone button and say, Mike,
time to
stop talking.
talking.
I think we need to go to a break. Oh, that was nerve-wracking.
Okay.
It was so nerve-wracking.
So before we go or run out of time because we're being kicked out of the studio this week, the story has surfaced about Tom and Giselle yet again. Now, for those of you keeping score at home, divorce has been finalized. Everything is quote unquote fine. But now, and I wondered about this, since they were such heavy investors with FTX, along with a number of celebrities, including, I have it right here, including Shaquille O'Neal, Steph Curry, you're going to have to help me, Naomi Osaka? I don't know who that is.
She's the tennis player who has the mental breakdowns.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
One of the best in the world.
And a number of other highfalutin celebrities are going to be part of a lawsuit for FTX, which, here's what I want to know.
It's unfair.
If just because you happen to be an investor or you're a spokesperson for a given, because were they doing ads for this company?
Well, what I think they did is they took some equity in the company for their
deal. So are
deal.
they technically owners?
They hypothetically are owners, right?
Oh, well, that's bunk.
Yeah, if you just hired Shaquille O'Neal to do an ad, you can't really say, hey, Shaquille, you were hired to do this ad. But so I think he got... I think all of them got some sort of equity deal in FTX.
Oh, and then people
money.
are saying, well, if Tom and Giselle they're really smart and wealthy people.
Well,
so
I mean,
are they going to be found liable?
I doubt it. But I mean, just think of that. If someone came to you and said, hey, I'm printing money because I'm exceptionally bright. Everyone thinks I'm the whiz kid of the oracle of Bitcoin. And I'm going to give you 1% of my business if you become a brand ambassador. Oh, and by the way, 1% of this business is worth $300 million. Do you want to do it? You'd say, well, sure. I mean, what's the worst that could happen? If it goes out of business, I'm out the $300 million. But little did somebody know that if it goes out of business and they find out it's a huge Ponzi scheme and they start putting people in jail and I own 1% of it, no thank you, right?
Right.
So, I mean, even that happens. It's kind of funny because people will go onto the boards of directors of companies, right? So they don't own anything with the company, but they're on the board of directors. And you have to have really incredible insurance that protects your other business because people, if you sit on a board of a company that goes out of business, people sue the board members. And you might have been on the board for 2 weeks. You had nothing to do with the company, and all of a sudden they're coming after all your assets because the base company went out of business.
Well, that's why I wanted to give Shaquille O'Neal some props because he's a very smart business guy.
Is.
I know maybe it was you that told me this, but I know, let's say when you see his Papa John's commercial, he doesn't just say, okay, I'll do your ads. He says, I need a pun intended, a piece of the pie. Where he gets a certain what's the other one? The insurance, the general. I know he's also
part of that?
part ownership of that, and the printing cartridges that you see him on, Epson or whatever it is.
Really? Okay.
So that's his bit. Where I'll be your spokesperson, but I'm now going to be on your board, and I'm going to be part owner, which I think is really smart.
Yeah, and I think he owns some Papa John's locations too, right?
Yeah.
He said, hey, I liked it so much, I wanted to figure it out from the base.
Well, and they could have used a little bit of a facelift.
They
after
needed
what
a new
they're-
spokesman.
Yeah, they really
Little
did.
did you know that Shaquille O'Neal would be the voice of reason, right? Although he's always carried himself super professionally
And very likable.
and very likable,
Yeah.
but little did you know that, like, okay, let's get rid of the guy, Papa John, because he's too much of a doofus, much of a drinker, and let's take Shaq because Shaq he seems to be a very astute businessman.
Well, and I go back to seeing that image of Papa John at a Super Bowl party, and
Just hammered.
well, and I'm thinking, bro, you were on top of the world,
Yeah.
literally created a self-made man, right? Came from basically nothing, selling pies out of your car
Yeah.
that you ended up having to sell to keep the business afloat, and you just couldn't keep your mouth shut.
Yeah.
But what are you going to do?
You know, things can happen.
That's
right?
a good
in,
point.
In years past, no one would have ever known what he said. No
That's
one
a
would have
good
ever
point.
said.
If we didn't live in the instant on-demand world,
That's right.
You are exactly right. Anyway, well, Michael, we are not going to be doing a show next week for the holiday, which I know is your personal favorite week of the year.
I hate it.
In a broadcast sense. I know you do, and I always think of you when we talk about. Yeah, sorry. Although Joe is coming in.
Joe's going to do live Garage Logic next
Joe
week.
Rookie and Johnny Height have agreed to do 3 shows next week. So,
Really?
And I believe they just did it for you.
That is very nice because otherwise, podcasting and radio, everything on the radio is horrible. They always just get the worst people who just have nothing to do. Guys like me get a radio show for a week.
Well, I will. You know what I'll say about the week between Christmas and New Year's? That is, and if you're out there and you're an aspiring
The time to get some time.
that is the time to make yourself available. Because honestly, if you say yes to being able to, that's how you crack a microphone.
Yeah.
That's how you get behind a board. That's how you fill in on a whatever show. That's your opportunity. Otherwise, you're not going to get one. The other time of the year.
Yeah, no one else is taking time off because they don't want some young stud to come in and just be great, right?
There was a time, and I wasn't working for this company, that I filled in for somebody, and that person never took a day off again.
Oh, really?
Well, it's not because I'm great or anything. I just thought, no, they were kind of exposed for just how lazy that they were.
Yeah. Oh, no.
Anyway.
Well, hey, Reavers, Merry Christmas, and you're the best.
Same thing to you, buddy. And thank you so much for listening to the Weekly Scramble throughout the course of the year. We really, truly appreciate it. Mike and I have been at this for a number of years, and we really appreciate the loyal dedication, the feedback, all of the great emails that you folks send to the show throughout the course of the year. They get read each and every time. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. For Mike Fredoloni, my name is Chris Reavers. We will talk to you again in the new year. Until then, be safe. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and cheers.
Start a journey, not a fad. Kick off your fitness journey with up to $500 off Peloton Bike, Bike Plus, or Tread packages. Choose the package that will take your training to the next level with accessories like our cycling shoes, heart rate band, non-slip grip dumbbells, and more. Join now and you'll see why 92% of households that start the year with Peloton are still active a year later. All access membership separate. Offer ends January 8th, 2023. Excludes Bike, Bike Plus, and Tread Basics. See additional terms at onepeloton.com.
So I switched to Boost Mobile and got this free Samsung Galaxy A23 5G phone.
Why do you think they call it the Galaxy?
Maybe because the Samsung Galaxy A23 has a huge screen, and galaxies are huge gravitationally bound systems of stars rotating around a supermassive black hole.
And the phone is free?
When you switch to Boost Mobile.
Cool. You lost me at gravitationally bound.
Switch to Boost and get a free Samsung Galaxy A23 5G phone. Boost Mobile. Unleash your power. Limited time offer while supplies last. New customers only. Excludes tax. One device offer per line. Only available on certain networks. 5G not available everywhere. Additional restrictions apply. See your local Boost Mobile store for details.